everyone. Welcome back to the Mason Cox Show. Great show coming up. We've got the catch-up. Now, obviously, Brayden Cocks, the great man, comes on with this. And we talk about everything that's going on in the sports world. We're actually talking about things in the dating world in this one, which is very interesting. We talk about NAIDOC Week. We talk about Twitter. We talk about things we're looking forward to, the footy chat, obviously, and all kinds of things. So check it out. First of all, I need to do this off the top. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Subscribe to all of them. Subscribe to all 5, to be honest. We need to try to get this as much attention as possible and get the ball rolling. But we will, with no further ado, introduce the great man, Brayden Cocks. Welcome back.
G'day, Mace. Are you as tired as I am? I stayed up and watched. I didn't watch the whole Wimbledon final with Kyrgios Djokovic because I'm an old man.
It's 11 o'clock start. It was quite late.
It's quite late, but I watched up until the point where I was like, I think it's done.
I think he's lost it. At one point, he won the first set.
Yeah, he flew through.
I was like, holy crap, we might be on to something here.
Yeah, and then they get in your head with the whole like, Djokovic has never broken Kyrgios. And I'm like, okay, he's a chance. And then cracks started to seep in and you're like, I don't know how long he's going to hold off. Because it is a lot of pressure. Talk about pressure.
And he's had the ultimate run. Tsitsipas was the only person I thought that was in the top 25. I think he played to get into the Wimbledon final, which was insane to think about. So he had like this dream run. And then like Nadal like pulls out in the semifinal. You're like, oh my gosh, this might be like the awesome chance for an Aussie to win the Wimbledon title. Like, who knows? And
imagine being like the organisers of Wimbledon and it's like you lose that semi. Like, it's a pretty big draw to see Kyrgios and Nadal. It really threw back. It reminded me of Baghdadis. I don't even know if you were here. Baghdadis, tennis player that sat outside like the top 50, made it through to the Australian Open final and everyone was right around him.
Wow.
So it had that vibe about him because Kyrgios sits 40-something and made it all the way through. I don't know if I like that him and Djokovic are now buddy-buddy. I like the rivalry, but now they've said they've got a bit of a bromance going.
They're a bit outspoken people. Like, I can understand. He wore like the red cap. There's this big kind of controversy over that. There was the Duke and Duchess were there with their kid, which was, I mean, like, I probably wouldn't take my kid, like, especially someone who's part of the royal family to a Nick Kyrgios match, knowing probably what's going to come out of his mouth.
He's saying that he doesn't have regal behavior.
Well, that's the thing. Wimbledon, the all whites, like there was a whole thing about, women obviously having to wear white and being on the menstrual cycle and all this kind of stuff was like kind of crazy, I guess, stuff that happened in the Wimbledon, I guess, experience this year. Like there's a lot of things that they're starting to get to the point now where this whole traditionalist kind of thing is being challenged by a lot of players and whatnot. It would be interesting kind of see like, where this old school mentality has to kind of meet in the middle with what's actually happening in society today.
Kyrgios is obviously a pretty controversial star and drums up a lot of attention.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like that stuff about athletes in the game? Obviously, you play with Jack Ginnivan, who we bring up weekly. It generates some excitement, some buzz, some stories. Like, do you think that those controversial stars are good for sport?
I think they are. I mean, like, what is sport? Sport is entertaining.
Are you on their side, though? Or are you like
I think there's a certain point. Like, everything has, like, a too much kind of, point in these things. And Kyrgios probably floats with that here and there. I mean, like, it is kind of a weird thing. It's kind of like golf, Like, golf's kind of looked at as this, like, kind of elitist sport. And tennis is very much in the same, I guess, kind of category as that. And, like, at what point, we've got the LIV or the LIV kind of thing now that's going with the golf tournament where now everyone's just getting paid and moving to a different thing outside the PGA. And it's like, I don't know, maybe these people just don't want to buy into this kind of idea that you have to do all these different rules and everything else. It's like, it's a sport. Like, I'm there to prove, my athletic ability, not to sit here and look a certain way and speak a certain way. Like, I am who I am, and just let me be the best version of that. That's kind of, I don't know, that's where I stand on it. Like, if you are that person that does better in that scenario, it's okay. But I can understand. I mean, you think about, like, even right now with umpiring the IFL and dissent and everything else, like, there's a massive kind of, I guess, focus on that in the IFL, which, like, I guess the equivalent somewhat of that in the tennis is like cursing and yelling at the ref and the umpire and the chair umpire and all that, which is something that Kyrgios does. Yeah. So I don't really know, I guess, where the happy medium is. Do I think you should respect umpires? Yes. Did I probably on the weekend at times? No. So we'll get to that later, everyone. We'll get to that in the footy chat later. Theme. But I think, like, there's a certain point of, I think, whenever there's kids in the crowd and there's kids looking after you, and, like, maybe certain language that you use, is probably where I draw the line somewhat. You know, like you have to understand you're a role model at a certain point also for young kids out there. And that's kind of the mentality I probably take around it.
Yeah.
But as far as do I need to wear all white at Wimbledon? I don't think so.
Tennis and golf, the difference for me is that they're individuals and they represent themselves. As much as people want to be like, they represent the country or our people, or they don't really. They represent themselves. So like, I feel like as long as they're comfortable and confident in what they're saying and they can stand by it, I think when you put it like as children are in the crowd and stuff like that, you probably have to be respectful in that manner. I don't mind even going off at the refs in tennis and stuff. It's not a good look, but it makes that game so much more exciting.
You know what I do miss about the tennis? This is the one thing I remember. I was watching the Australian Open this year, and you know how they did the you could review a call.
Yeah.
And like you would do like in the stands, you'd hear like the clap, like the slowly like clapping getting louder and louder and quicker and quicker and quicker. And then there would be like, it would show like the ball just barely a sliver of it hit the line. Everyone was like, oh, like, I like that. That was awesome.
With Hawkeye, and it like zooms in once and it's close, but then it zooms in again and it's like a pixel in it. Yeah.
I miss that. Where now it's just like, yep, it was in and it's not. It's like, kind of give me some suspense here. Give me some like suspense, and then have like someone challenge a call and just kind of like that. I love that part of sport. But I do miss that in tennis. When
it comes to Kyrgios as well, kind of watching it, and everyone is getting this sense of like, we're just waiting for the moment where the occasion gets the better of him and he starts yelling or acting out or whatever. And it ended up eventuating.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like that, being an athlete yourself, obviously, have you got like a sports psych or someone that teaches you how to get through moments of like severe pressure or anxiety or like big moments to not get overawed? Like, do you have a sports psych?
We do have a sports psych at the club. Most clubs have a sports psych, I would say. And we do have one. Jackie is her name. And she does help out with that if you kind of seek that. So sometimes, you know, like if you have issues or you have anxiety going into a game, or you don't handle pressure so well, or whatever it is, like you can have, you know, you're kind of one-on-one with her, and she's a qualified sports psychologist. So you can. I personally don't. Like I've had a few kind of meetings with her over some tougher times just to kind of talk through some stuff and things like that. But I haven't really done too much with her, so I can't really speak on it myself with a personal experience. I did, I guess, chat to her through my contracts and stuff like that whenever you're kind of uneasy of where you're going to be and what's going to happen and where the future may lie and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably for me not necessarily performance based. It's more of just like life balance based. And that's probably what I use it for most. There's a lot of guys. I mean, we talk back to Adam Trelaw, who talks openly about it, using that and anxiety and everything else he's had with playing. And there are different players, I think, in the league that do kind of go to a psychologist for more help. And it's an amazing thing, because I think around the world, there's probably not as much of that as there is in Australia. So that's one of the things I tell people all the time is like, I think the care factor from a club standpoint of the players can sometimes be higher than overseas, where it's just a ruthless like money game of either you're getting paid and you're playing well, or if you're not, we'll see you later. Tough life. I'm never going to talk to you again. So it's different in that sense. But personally, I can't really speak to it because I haven't really had to use it too much.
Does she sit on the bench?
She does. She actually gives me my my glasses case. So I've got like my glasses case, and there's someone asked me recently. I said, how many pairs of glasses do you have? And it's over 10 like frames, and then 45 lenses. I counted the other day. 45 lenses.
Why?
Different tints. Different, so each one has different tints, and then you might change them out. So like my left eye is darker than my right eye. Because my left eye, my pupil doesn't constrict as much.
And then like day and night games.
So day, night, super sunny, overcast, cloudy, different. So I'll walk out for a game and I'll try 2 or 3 different lenses and just see which one suits the day.
So you're like Specsavers on the day.
Hey, if you want to get Specsavers on, it's one of the ambassadors, one of the ad people. I'm happy to.
I like that. We both wear glasses.
That's very true. We should actually get them as a brand on board.
Why so many frames?
Just so when it's easy, like to be able to swap things out. So whenever if you're in the middle of a game, you don't want to be sitting there having to clean and everything else. I can just throw them out on the bench, get a fresh new one, just like kind of move on. So it's kind of more of like that rather than actually like a huge difference. So I might have 5 pairs that are the exact same as far as lenses of how dark they are. And then if I get if I get one dirty during a game, I get to the bench, I just throw them to the side, put them in the box, and I just grab a brand new one.
Yeah. Just back on to the sports psych side of things. This pressure's going to come. Like what do you have in place to identify that the pressure's there, and what systems do you have in place to overcome this pressure? Like, do you start to go like, all right, I've missed some set shots. My set shots aren't great at the moment. And then every time you take a marker, you like, I want to just like be calm, go through my routine, kick the goal? Or are you going like, geez, I need to kick this goal. Like, I haven't kicked a goal in a bit. And then like, does that start getting in your head?
Sometimes that creeps into your head, I guess, as a player. With some players, man, it's tough to find someone that you really like gel with. I think from a psychologist standpoint, if you're going to tell them your deepest, darkest secrets and what maybe gets you off your confidence, like that's something that's very like, as a player, you don't want to share that with a lot of others. Yeah. And I think you don't want a lot of other people to know that. So like to find someone who you fully trust in that sense, to be able to know that kind of information is very hard to find. And I think for athletes to open up like that, it's not necessarily extremely rare, but it is quite rare, I think, for someone to sit there and say, I'm an absolute open book, for someone else to know about my life, my deepest, darkest fears, whenever I walk out onto whatever it is, a field or a court, whoever it may be. And I think that's probably, with some people, like, it's tough to find that person who you really gel with, that you can trust 100% with anything you say to them.
Internally, if you go to some of these people, like a psych or whatever, there's just like I don't know if it's a fear, but like that information gets to the senior coach or other coaches internally. So some people kind of withhold that information. There's so much pressure on like players to, get a game each week. And am I going to be seen different because I like divulge this information, and like another player is going to get a spot ahead of me? Like the pressure of that, there's pressure that is created trying to relieve pressure and mental stress.
When I first came into the club, I remember every single little thing I did, I was worried about how it would be judged and how it would be looked from a head coach perspective. I was worried about coming into the club, making sure that I was on time for everything, making sure that I was doing extras, making sure the coach saw me doing extras, making sure that the coach knew I cared, because I had this probably stigma being American that I was just going to rock up to this place and think I'm hot shit and be able to just kind of run the league. Like that's kind of what I had to shake without even me walking through the door, because people would automatically kind of say, okay, well maybe, this is what the idea we have behind Americans. You have to shake the stigma before we start respecting you. And that was something I always struggled with, was being able to be myself whenever I first came into the club, knowing that everyone had already kind of, I guess, put a cover on me saying like, oh, I'm going to read this book by its cover. He's American. He's come over here. He's tall. He's going to think he's an athlete. He thinks he's, hot shit. Where I think every single day I'd sit there and prove that I was going to work harder and work more sophisticated and be out there doing as much as I can to be better than the person that's in front of me.
Yeah.
And it's like, even today, I still do it. Like I'm the last person out that does goal kicking every single day. And then like, that's my mentality of being like, no. Like, I don't care where you come from or anything about this. You're going to work harder than anyone else that's out there.
Yeah. So, and at the same time, it would have served you and the club if you felt confident enough to go and speak to someone about those issues that you were having. See? So it's a real catch-22, because most of those, like most clubs, as you said, would have a sports psych on. But I wonder how many players across the league are kind of too fearful to go and speak to them, because, they don't know, or they're concerned that the information might go somewhere where they don't want it to go. Yeah,
but to say this, to finish this off, the AFLPA does provide psychologists outside of the club that you can go to that obviously are not linked. So there is options, but maybe people don't. Sometimes, obviously it's like, I don't feel comfortable enough to go to a psych in general.
Yeah.
Not just in a footy sense. So I will say that to finish off that.
You've been posting and sharing a lot of Indigenous run businesses on your social media. Being NAIDOC Week, what's your association with NAIDOC Week, or how have you picked up this and kind of ran with it?
It's kind of unique, I guess, myself. Like coming to this country, I always found Indigenous culture amazing. Like it's the longest continuous culture in the world. And I just find it amazing, some of the stuff that happens. And I feel like sometimes you go back to something that's been around for a long time and we tend to kind of ignore it at times, but they have so many life lessons and so many things about the land and about their culture and about community and everything else that is so valid in today's society. And I've always just kind of had a soft spot for it. So I did a trip from Gold Coast all the way up to Cape York and went up to the very tip of Australia in the northeast corner. Met an amazing people that were in this week called the Garbett Magpies. So they were here for NAIDOC week this week, and we were able to show them around. So they're kind of like this sporting club up in Townsville, and we ran into them through some contacts, and myself and Jiva, mentor, who were traveling together at the time, and just really kind of fell in love with these people, and they were so nice and so accommodating, everything else. And we had this opportunity to kind of show that same stuff back to them this week. So I had a training session with them. I went to dinner with them. They're on the Guard of Honor at the game on the weekend. Like, they had all of them there at the game. Talked to them after the game, and there's some amazing content coming out around it. And I think this week is cool for me, and also cool for me in the sense that it gives me a platform to show something about their actual tribe and their kind of identity and everything else. And it's pretty amazing. Like, I became an Australian citizen recently, and they actually did something very special for me after we had a training session. They gave me a skin name, which is like really cool.
What's a
I look
skin
at
name?
getting citizenship, and I look at this and I think like they're pretty on par.
So what's the skin name?
This is better. It's Bombaree from the Juru tribe of northern Queensland. So they did like a traditional dance in front of me and kind of welcomed me into their tribe as a skin name. So it was awesome. Like, it was so cool. And like, I kind of like get goosebumps thinking about it, because I know how much that means to them. And it's like, it's almost someone saying like, you're now part of our family.
Yeah.
And there's not many like kind of, I don't know, like I'll look at it as something that has such a culture and a rich history and everything else. And they're saying like, you're now kind of one of us. And it's very like just humbling, man. Like, I think about it now, and it's like just how amazing. It kind of leaves me a bit speechless thinking about it and talking about it. But I've had this amazing connection with this Garbett Magpies and the club up there, that they kind of now want me as one of them. Like, it's pretty crazy to think. But that was kind of, I guess, like the big moment of me for NAIDOC week. And another thing I've been doing is trying to help Indigenous artists and people who are Indigenous in the community that are doing amazing things, like talk about House of Darwin, talk about Clothing the Gap, and a few different artists that I've been promoting through socials throughout the week. And I think it's just a cool way to be able to showcase some of these people who are doing amazing things and telling amazing stories. And to be able to kind of have this opportunity during the week to bring that up is what NAIDOC Week's all about.
Like, the AFL cops just a lot of shit in general. But like, through my own personal experience, I was in the AFL system on the other side of things, obviously not the elite player. But like, the amount that I learnt over my time across a lot of areas, but in particular multiculturalism and then like Indigenous history, was awesome. Even to the point where, like, I grew up in Echuca, which is a northern, like a town on the border of Victoria and New South Wales. I lived there for 18 years, and I had no idea of the history of Echuca, which isn't great. Some things that I wish that were different. I did my whole schooling, and there was Indigenous kids at our school that went to Indigenous studies to learn like the history, but they wouldn't teach the white kids. So the white kids don't go to that class. So
really?
You're teaching the Indigenous kids about their history, positive and negative. So then some of these kids come out with like a negative perception, and like the white kids don't know why. And it's just like, Indigenous history should be taught across the board.
Yeah.
So everyone knows like the terrible history of it, but that like the true history of it, and can appreciate and celebrate it from like a young age.
The biggest thing is just learning. Like, there's so much
100%.
ignorance out there. It's like, if we actually took the time to actually learn and understand and be able to put the shoe on the other foot, like, then we might be in a better stance to be able to help people out that need it.
My perspective on Australia Day, as an example, has vastly changed now, knowing more information about it.
Honestly, yeah.
So, and now I can't fathom why it's on the same day. It's so hard to absorb any other opinion about Australia Day from like someone else's perspective if they don't have the knowledge of the negative impact that it can have on Indigenous people due to the history of it.
Well, I mean, I think back to whenever I got my citizenship and they asked me to do it on Australia Day this year. And I told them no. I said, I think it's culturally insensitive. And they had a crack at me for that. They said, I don't care. This is the date that you locked in for. And I said, I'm not doing it. I don't think it's appropriate, nor is it going to be a good look for myself personally and my beliefs, nor is it going to be a great look from the club perspective whenever it's going to be publicly put out there.
Yeah. Well, it just doesn't align.
I don't believe in it. And I shouldn't have to have that day of becoming an Australian citizen on his day. I don't believe it should be that same date. And
100%.
It was wild. Like it was, yeah. I'm glad it got changed. I'm glad we got it sorted, but that was something I was quite stern on.
And now this is the weird news segment. It's been bumped up because of its great success.
It's got a lot of traction.
On the last pod, yeah.
Lots of traction.
I get tens of thousands of people asking me.
Tens of thousands?
Yeah, just where do you find these? How do you get them? They're the best news articles I've ever read. All right, so we're jumping in off the top. KFC, big supporter of the club and the podcast.
Yeah, huge supporter, got it. KFC, thank you for the sponsorship.
So I have to be careful. I have to tread lightly with what I say here. This is the headline: KFC to replace lettuce with cabbage.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
That's no issue. I have no issue with this because this is not going to be a problem whatsoever. Because I can understand from KFC's perspective, lettuce was like $10 for a head of lettuce recently. So,
and like, if you like cabbage, I like cabbage. It's got flavor. Lettuce doesn't have flavor. Actually,
lettuce is just water.
If you're asking me, it's a massive upgrade. KFC's upgrading.
Okay.
So KFC has been forced to put cabbage in its burgers after a shortage of lettuce sent prices soaring. The fast food chain told customers it will use a blend of lettuce and cabbage. So that's good. You're getting the best of both worlds, really. Yeah. It comes as Subway ran out of lettuce. So
this has been a very interesting thing because in Australia, I'll go to the supermarket and I go to the fresh food section. There's nothing. It is bare bones.
Yeah, it is barren. You have to buy it in the packets.
Yeah, which I'm not about because I don't like plastic.
Well, it makes me think about what's in those to keep them fresh in the packets for sale.
But you ever seen the one that had a huntsman in it? Did you ever see that video?
No.
Oh, well, you're going to have to pull it up and you're going to put it on social. There's a huntsman in one of the bags of lettuce or that lettuce leaves, whatever it is, that goes into a salad. And it was legit alive in the plastic bag.
Free protein.
Insane. That was one of the first things I actually saw in Australia. I was like, this place is cooked.
Apparently it's $12 for an iceberg at the moment.
No.
$12.
Nah, it can't be, dude.
The thing,
$12.
The thing with...
That's more than a Subway sub.
What are you buying? Lettuce is nothing. Really. It's green hard water.
Yeah.
So $12, you could buy a lot of stuff for $12. You could buy 4 Mrs. Mac pasties.
I don't know what that is.
That's how I deem that's what I deem currency.
Okay, so, Mrs. Mac
Miss Mac pasties.
Pasties.
Do you know what a pasty is?
I don't know what a pasty is.
Man,
so
get out of here.
Give me a bit of an update. Still trying to figure out the Australian stuff.
Here, this one's from the Telegraph in the UK. Worker who accidentally got paid 300 times his salary takes the money and runs.
Huge.
That's a big win.
I mean, is that legally okay?
Well, I highly doubt it. I feel
they paid him and went into his account. It's like, that's your fault. Why do I have to pay back?
Yeah.
It's like finding $20 on a sidewalk. Do you take it?
Well, it's a little more than $20.
Yeah, hypothetically. I mean, this is in the moral standards of the world.
So, an employee who discovered that he'd been paid nearly £150,000 for the month instead of his usual £450, decided to duck and run. He agreed to return the cash and promised to go to the bank and withdraw the money the following day. But instead of giving it back, the man withdrew the money and hasn't been seen since.
Yeah, I'd be in the Bahamas, bro. I would not be back at work the next day.
They later received contact from an unnamed man's lawyers who informed them that he won't be returning to the company. They haven't been able to find him. No arrests have been made so far either.
He's probably hanging out with the 2 guys from Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. Get busy living or get busy dying.
That's it. That is it.
And finally, kangaroo ran loose at Baton Rouge after parrot set it free. Owners have to give it up.
At Baton Rouge in the US?
Baton Rouge in the US.
Is this the weird thing? Because Americans are weird about this. They can have wild, exotic animals. Look at Tiger King, this whole thing. Is this one of those that the parrots?
Hey,
okay,
we'll get
I'll let
there.
you finish. Go ahead.
Baxter was the name of the kangaroo.
Baxter.
He's safe, but he was found running loose in the east end of Baton Rouge. As the headline suggests, he was released by a parrot. See, they own a bird recovery center. Baxter's bird brother Thor figured out how to open the cage and let Baxter free. So
I can't help. Every time you say Baxter, all I think of is Anchorman's dog.
Yeah, gets kicked off the bridge.
Baxter, no.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Thor, the parrot, let Baxter free. He got caught by the Baton Rouge Sheriff's Department they coaxed him in with peanut butter. That's
Do kangaroos like peanut butter?
No, apparently. That's how you get them back. So now you know.
Okay, well.
Where's Baton Rouge?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There's some very interesting people.
Well,
in
that all
Baton Rouge,
makes
I'll tell you
sense
that. Yeah. It's not necessarily Florida. It's not necessarily Texas, but it's probably just maybe 3 or 4 down from there.
Yeah,
on the crazy list of just news headlines. People talk about when they go to the States. The States are very diverse in the culture, right? So you have like hoity-toity New York, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got like surfer chill California. And then you got like retirees in Florida. And then you've got like Texas, and you got like kind of like that southern bit, which is like all these rednecks who just are very southern and like love just guns and anyway, guns and trucks. And there's very diverse. So, like, it depends where you go in like certain areas and what you want to experience. But yes, have I been through some ridiculous places like Huntsville, Alabama? That might be a bit kind of redneck and like bit backwards probably at times, and shout out to Huntsville, Alabama, because I know someone that lives there. But like,
don't turn away our American audience.
Yeah, there's some places that I probably would not be high on my travel list.
Yeah. Is it the Midwest? Is that
the Midwest? Is nothing. There's like just cornfields. I mean, that's Iowa, that's Kansas, that's everything else that just is essentially just flat plains. Like the Midwest is essentially where tornadoes roll through and just hang out.
Now on that, this is something that this gets me.
Hit it.
Tornado Alley, right?
Yeah. I lived on Tornado Alley for a long time.
This is perfect.
Yeah. I've experienced tornadoes firsthand.
You have to be, in my mind, some kind of idiot to live in Tornado Alley. It's called Tornado Alley.
I lived there my whole life.
Case in point, dude. You know what's there. You know what's coming. And then they'll be on the news and be like, oh, you never guess what happened to me. Tornado. You fucking reckon?
Well, I find it funny because people here, there's very different experiences growing up, right? And like whenever I grew up in Texas, hearing a tornado siren was kind of normal. Like if you was a big storm rolling through, there'd be a tornado siren. Everyone would kind of go into their house and go into like the basement, wherever it is that was like their safe place, right? And to describe to you kind of how ridiculous this is and how many tornadoes there were in Oklahoma, where I went to university at. Let's say hypothetically there's a station, right? An FM station that's going on, and they have some kind of prize you win. The prize in that area was a tornado shelter. Like that was what you won if you guessed like some secret sound or whatever it was, like it was a tornado shelter. Like you get to actually get one installed at your house. That was like the creme de la creme of like Oklahoma.
Like no more sitting in the bathtub for me.
Yeah, bathtub with a mattress on top, man. Been there, done that. And it's like, it's crazy. But then I don't know, like I think back and I even think of like weird things, growing up. And like we used to have something called Dr. Downey's in the building. And if you ever heard that on the mic at school, it means there was a shooter in the school. Like, and that was something we practiced. We practiced that as like from like first grade to like 12th grade.
So they say that for what reason?
So that was, I think, our school specific thing we said. So if you ever heard that, the whole school was understanding that there was a shooter in the building. But if some shooter rolled in, heard that over the loudspeaker, they'd think, who's Dr. Downey? Like we don't understand. But as kids, we knew right away we had to go into like the corner of the room. We had to hide under desk, and we had to be away from the door where the gunman would be able to see through the window to see how many people were in the classroom. That's how I grew up.
That's insane.
But even we like tornado, like if tornadoes rolling through our school, we had like a whole way to sit in the fetal position underneath the desk.
So did you start like, you started doing like tornado like warnings and drills and learning what to do there, and then did that change to like active shooter drills? Or are you doing both?
They're doing both.
Jeez, that's
like there's emergency situations, you just randomly have like, oh, we've got the tornado drill today, or we've got Dr. Downey in the building day. And it was like you'd show up, and this is me at first grade, man. Like, I mean, I don't know how old you are in first grade. You would do this in first grade.
God.
Yeah. And it was just like normality. Like I tell people this and they're like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. And I think, oh, that's just how I grew up.
Yeah, that's insane. That's actually crazy. Not a lot of bad stuff happened in our first grade experience.
No. They can't even have thunderstorms here really, man. Like we used to have lightning crack out of the back of the house and break trees down and stuff, man. It was crazy. Like
nothing happens here.
Nothing like that happens.
We're
here.
boring. We just go to school to get an education.
Yeah. Do something cool.
Try to survive.
We'll move to the next topic. We've got a bit off topic here, but I want to go into the dating life, Brayden. We briefly talked about this.
You want to bring this up because mine is depressing.
It's great. It is. You are entertaining for me because my dating life doesn't exist. I feel like in my situation, it's very hard for me to date people, but I do get very much a lot of pleasure out of hearing your stories of the best, the worst, the in-betweens, all the apps, and everything else, mate.
What's the best? I haven't told you.
Surely the best is the best. I mean, obviously you're still single. Like I'm still single. Like we haven't experienced the best because that is getting married, having kids, having an amazing life with someone.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not the best yet. But
I would describe the difference in ours is like your dating life is like a full-blown sitcom. Like you get yourself into like the weirdest situations. Whereas mine is just traditionally sad.
Oh, come on. It can't be that bad.
Back in the day, it was obviously you had to talk to someone and go do things. Now I don't have to leave the house.
You just sit on your phone nowadays, huh?
Yeah, but I think it's given me I feel it's probably not just me, but I feel like it's giving society a complexity because you just like look at pictures, you analyze it within like
0.5 seconds.
Yeah,
you know.
And you're like, nah. And it's not just like looks. Like I feel like you can base a personality off like one picture. You get a glance at like what they're doing. Your brain scans it and goes like attractive, yes or no for me personally. And then it goes, what are they doing in that? And then you go, oh, that's something boring. Or that's like not a hobby that I share.
You would enjoy.
And so
and
like,
you go instantly swipe left.
Yeah, swipe left is no.
Yeah.
So like your brain is analyzing that quick, but it's like I'll be saying no to people that like if I met in real life and they came up and started a conversation with me, like absolutely I'd continue that conversation. But like it's messed with my standards. It's the whole thing's so I'll break down the apps for.
So what? Give me a play-by-play of the apps out there.
So I see it as for me. There's three main apps. There's Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge.
Yeah,
and they each is different and has different standards.
I want to go. Tinder's the hookup app.
Yeah, correct.
You tell me if I'm correct or not.
Yeah.
Bumble is the middle.
I feel like,
and then like Hinge is like long-term love.
Bumble's realistic.
Yeah. Okay.
So Tinder is just the Wild West. It's
Wild West.
It's out there. It's just it's crazy. You can get anything on that thing. Like
really,
a lot of like what I get is like people in town for the weekend.
Oh,
type
just a bit of business for the weekend.
So you get a lot of that, and then it's like you go to reply, and they're like 1,000 kilometers away, and you're like, oh, okay, so they were in town for the weekend. Like they don't even broach it like they were in town for the weekend. They just hit you with the hey with the smiley face or something. Anyway, so Tinder, I go on there to swipe just as
bit of fun,
bit of a mood booster, bit of a. Anyway, Bumble. More realistic.
Is there like a Bumble profile we can share to the broader public?
My one.
Yeah.
My one.
Is there like a username?
And I have this, right? So I've been on it for 2 years or something.
Yeah, okay.
And I got my glasses September 2019.
Yeah.
My profile still says new glasses. Feel free to leave a review. But it gets a response, and it's easy. It's not for me.
Okay, yeah.
It's not for
It's a conversation starter. It's to break the ice.
It's for them to start the conversation, and that's my first tip to girls is like
We're giving tip to women.
Fill out the profile. Give me something to talk about, especially on Hinge. Okay. On Hinge, when it's like there's 3 prompts, and each one goes like, I hate filling out these, I hate filling out these, I hate filling out these. And it's like, yeah, but what am I going to start a conversation with? Hey, so you hate filling out information too, huh? Give me something. Give me something to work with.
What's your thoughts? Because I've seen Hinge profiles, and I think one of the things I found hilarious was like, it gives you like a snapshot of like height.
Yeah.
Is that kind of rude?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, like, if you're like 5'6" as a dude and you're having to put 5 foot, and is it required to put height in there?
Yeah, so you have to put height on. And here's my thoughts across the board on this. So, like,
give us your hot take, Brayden. Give us your hot take.
There's 2 types of girls on there.
Yeah.
Like those that care about height and those that don't. The girls that don't you'll see in their profile, it's like, why does every guy feel like they have to tell me his height? I don't care. Guys do that because the other side, the other girls will be like, don't even bother messaging me or swiping right if you're under 6 foot. It's like you may as well be dead.
Is there a cutoff on the top end? I'm not really sure.
I haven't seen it. Okay. I haven't seen a girl be like, if you're...
He's too tall.
If you're over 7 foot.
His feet are going to hang out of my bed.
Yeah, so that's a savage thing. But I would put it in. It's a physical attribute that you can't change. Like you wouldn't see a guy put on his profile like if you're below a C cup, don't even bother. Like
no chance.
You wouldn't see it because it's offensive and it's wrong. So
I can't even fathom that.
We're still diving in. So Bumble, it's a bit more realistic.
Yeah.
And they have to message first, which is good.
Oh, the girl messages first.
So
Okay, so she initiates.
Yeah, and you can have a bit of a back and forth.
I don't mind that.
So that's not bad. That probably results in the most dates for me, is that middle pot.
Yeah.
And then Hinge, I don't know what is going on at Hinge. But it's like, it's unrealistic to the point that like it messes with my head. So I'll match with girls that are like above me.
Above you.
It's okay.
Nah, Brayden, you're a 10, mate. You're an absolute
It's
10.
okay to say this. The pressure to perform.
Oh, come on.
No, but
you're a good dude.
My Hinge.
Ladies, help him out. Give him some back feedback.
My Hinge profile, you start with a voice prompt.
Yeah, okay.
And I have a pretty good one in there. So it's a bit of a...
Can you give
it's
it to
a bit
us?
of a joke.
What's your voice prompt?
So my voice prompt is like... Oh, yeah. I'll do my voice prompt. Ready? Yes. So I go like... You're not going to believe it. Like, I haven't had a chance to upload my dead fish pics or my gym selfies. They're actually being developed as we speak. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. Love fishing, love catching dead fish, and love posting selfies at the gym. And then like, so girls are like, ha, 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 I hate gym selfies. Or ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, okay.
I'm hanging out for these dead fish pics. And so you get messages off the back of that.
Yeah.
So I'm in. But... but I reckon I've been on one Hinge date. Like they just don't, it doesn't feel like they eventuate.
Yeah.
But I do have a date on Thursday.
Huge.
So I have a date on Thursday with a Hinge girl. So this could debunk all my self-doubt.
You've only got one experience out of this. So
yeah.
I'll tell you this. I've actually had people ask me if I'm on Hinge and like Bumble and Tinder and all this stuff, and people have made fake profiles apparently.
Of you?
Yeah. And then people are like, oh, I saw they like screenshot and send it to me.
Yeah, but then what? You rock up and it's not Mason Cox.
Well, I don't know. I assume nothing eventuates from that side of it.
Wait, so have you ever been legit on the dating apps?
I when I first came to Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then
any success?
I was bored with my friends because I was like, you know, you typically get with your mates and like, how are you still single, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and like, we're going to download this app and then we're going to go swipe through it all. And they like did it for me.
Yeah.
And then I think it was about like 2 minutes in, they had like 5 messages from people saying it was a fake account. I was like, I don't think this is for me.
I mean, it would be the first thing you would assume.
I don't know. Like, can I not be human? Can I not just like be a normal person?
Yeah. I guess from like an outsider's
How does a person like me go into a dating life then?
I feel like you would get hooked up through experiences and opportunities. You go to like a million events and you're doing this and that. And you surely have people approach you.
Not really. I think people say this all the time. People are like, oh, people must message you all the time on Instagram or social media and stuff. Zero. I'm telling you, zero.
At least it's not just me. I was thinking that. I was thinking like every person's like, oh, it's like this person slides into DMs, that person this like. Do people do that? Do people like slide into DMs and hit people up?
Males probably do it. I wouldn't say females probably do it back though.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe we just have never experienced
we
this.
We hope, please.
Therefore, it is out there, but we just are not good looking enough to get a girl to slide into the DMs.
Well, I'll say this on your behalf, but it's a question for me. Should Mason be sliding into DMs? Just Mason. I won't. But should Mace be sliding into DMs? Is that something that you got? Well, have
I ever? Yes, I have.
You have.
So someone else's for sure.
What do you lead with? You don't lead with the obvious, or you're like,
I'm not. I'll just be like, oh, let's say something comes up, right? And like they post a photo about something and be like, oh, I've been there. Do you get like, I'm going there in the future. Do you have any kind of like recommendations?
Yeah, nice, smooth.
It's just, it's a casual chat. And like chances are like, you
but they know straight away, right? They're like, here he is.
Most people wouldn't probably message back, Brayden. Most people would go, good try, mate. No chance.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That's a dating life anyway.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next thing.
Maybe I'll get on that. So next catch up, I'll tell you how this date went.
Yeah. Hopefully she doesn't look you up and find out you're on a podcast talking about the date, but
that's why
time will tell.
I matched with this girl and she's like, you got an Instagram? I was like, yeah. So we swapped Instagrams. I went on hers. She's like a lawyer model. And I was like,
yeah.
On mine, I just post memes.
Brayden, it's about personality, man. Just because she's got a nice job and a nice house, makes money, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, mate. Yeah, I don't know who you'll end up with.
I'm going to leave it there. I've got more shockers. We'll share them down the line.
Enough about the dating life. I will want a bit of an update on that Thursday date, though, and we will ask it whenever it comes to the next catch up and see how you went.
I'm hoping I need it to go well.
I might just sit at the table next to you. That would be like a little earpiece. Just give you a few tips.
This is what I don't need tips from you. I need people that have a good track record with dating to chime in.
That's fair.
Chime in. Tell me some tips. I need a restaurant to go to. Maybe start off with that. I listened to Matt Preston.
Matt Preston just gave us a whole list of them.
I'm not made of this, Matt.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not made of this. I need some.
Give us maybe a list. And
above Subway, below like the Matt Preston suggestions. But yeah, jumping in, actually, speaking of all things social, I saw your tweet on the weekend. Bit of a clap back to fans. Now, you often get some feedback, some strong feedback from the public. And this one in particular, if you didn't see it, talk us through it, Mason.
Oh, no, I just, I can't remember what I put up. I just said, thanks so much, everyone, for supporting us through the whole game. Obviously, there's a big comeback on the weekend. And some guy was just like talking trash, said, you only beat North by, and he spelled it like N-O-R-F, I don't even know why, but by 7 points. And I think my reply was something along the lines of, I hear the Tassie winter is quite nice this time of year.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, he's gone to town on like a lot of people here. I was like, this is good. I liked it.
Yeah.
I very much appreciated it. It was good because I will say, like, I didn't get that much negative feedback on any of my stuff, but since posting on the Mason Cox show, I've got to experience some of your
criticism.
Your fan base. I'm not sure if you could call them a fan base, but there was one post in particular about you saying that you were going to shirt front a streaker if they jumped onto the field.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I cut it up. I like chucked it up online. I was like, oh, that should go all right. And man, you were getting some... some
first tackle of the season.
Strong feedback. Oh, it was coming thick and fast. TikTok is savage.
Yeah, like, TikTok is,
TikTok is savage. And I was
in general, don't look at comments.
So I was like, oh shit, I've like rolled him under the bus on this one. Like,
you're sending me a text of, please do not look at the TikTok,
all these
Mason.
Like abusive, I'm like deleting like the absolute filthy, like swearing at you, attacking you type ones. And now I was like, we caught back up and I was like, don't be going on TikTok. And you were like, just over your head. It didn't affect
Doesn't
you
even faze
at
me.
all. I'm a Pisces. I'm like fragile. So I'm like, you're Pisces
I'm
too.
Pisces too. I was about to say.
I was like, this is...
don't want to throw you to the bus
I was like, this is killing me. Like every comment, I just want to like slam them back. I want to be like, yeah, well, there was one. It was like, you dominated your game. And I was just like, you're watching the game, dickhead?
You went back at him.
Okay, and this was like, I went back at him like week later too.
I'm like 12-year-old kid,
I'm petty. I don't give a stuff. I'll go back. I got a long memory.
Forget.
Yeah, so it was good seeing you. Like, I thought it was beneath you. I thought like you didn't not beneath you in terms of like your reply. That's very much in character. He wasn't a blue checker. I thought he wouldn't see him, but he had a little kangaroo emoji in his.
Okay. Sometimes you just got to put people back in line. And people criticize me all the time, and it's funny whenever I go back and I say it back to someone else, they freak out and throw a fit and just toss, just completely lose it. And I'm like, what? So it's okay for you to criticize me, but as soon as I want to do it back to you, you have a problem with it?
Yeah.
Like get over yourself, man.
There's a couple of things that it's like when you have a crack back and someone posts like the fishing, like the fishing rod emoji, as in like they were trying to bait you in. It's like, you weren't trying. Shut up. Go away.
For all.
And the other one where they just immediately backtrack. They're like, actually, no, you're my favorite player.
No, the fella deleted the tweet. They deleted it, and then I deleted it after because it made no sense.
Well, you got to delete yours, otherwise it's just
it makes no sense.
It's just an ad for Tassie.
So it's like if you're gonna talk trash about me and I reply to you, you have to own up to the fact that you got owned.
Yeah,
like you just have to leave it out there. That's the internet's way to be able to put you back in line.
Because I feel like he tried to defend it for a little bit, but he
gave up real quick.
He must have been confident.
Gave up real quick. I think it's okay as long as you stay within the means of like respect. I can it's part of Australian culture, like bit of a banter, as you might say. Yeah, to kind of talk back and forth. And what is it? Not okay for an athlete just to have a bit of fun, like crack back at someone. Joe Ingles did it recently with a Bucks fan.
Joe Ingles good at it.
Joe Ingles was like one of the most beloved Australians.
Yeah, no, I like it. Yeah, you got to put people in their place eventually because it's like otherwise they just keep getting away with it.
I will say this Tassie's a beautiful place. I was going to say this because I've been there like 6-7 times. I've been to some really fun places in Tassie. I've been to some really wacky places like Evandale. Been to the Penny Farthing Festival of the World. We've talked about this on the podcast. Awesome. Such a great experience. Tassie is one of the most beautiful and naturally rich places in all of Australia. So huge shout out to Tassie. I wasn't taking a crack at you, but your winters are very cold.
I don't think there's a person in Tassie that's like sitting there in shorts and a singlet going like,
no chance.
Yeah, what are you talking about? It's hot as. Like, we all know Tassie's cold. It's more of a crack at North, but see this segues into nothing really. But I just want to get into footy chat because we normally do it off the top. Yeah, and I'm itching to talk about some of this.
There's a few things that happened over the weekend. Well, I got fired up this weekend. Was I fired up on the field? It's starting to.
I gently tried to caress and massage a sports psych into the conversation earlier because you're starting to lash out a bit. I'm surprised you didn't get a
dissent call.
He
was like 10 meters out anyway. It didn't really matter. I was like, might as well just have a crack here. And he's gonna get another free kick just to move him closer to this like center.
So I think like hearing from fans, ex-players, commentators, like you can speak on this.
Yeah.
No one has any idea what a ruck free kick's going to be. We just sit there.
Ruckman do.
You hear the whistle and you're like, all right, which way is he going to point? And then...
thing that made me more upset on the weekend. He pointed the wrong way.
Yeah, I saw you. You were marching back.
I was furious. You best believe Pendles had to calm my ass down.
While we're on the subject of... ruck battles. David King, I think it was, put it on the agenda that umpires are taking too long to ball the ball in.
So throw it in from boundary.
Yeah, so they're turning around and seeing a ruckman identify that they are going up for the ruck tap. Yeah. Got their hand up. They wait until they get to the contest before they throw it in. So there was vision from the Collingwood North game of like Todd Goldstein put his hand up on defensive 50 and ran like 200 meters down to take a ruck tap.
We've all been guilty of that.
And they've like waited for him to get there. Do you think that they should just pick up the ball, go to the line and throw it in straight away?
I think the way the AFL thinks and how they want everything to be free flowing, they don't want to call free kicks. They want to kind of keep the ball going. I think that they will end up doing that. I don't personally like it because if I'm 200 meters away from the ball, all of a sudden it's gone from back half and you're in forward 50 and it's gone bang, 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 and all of a sudden it's in D50 and you're on the other side of the field and you're 150 meters away or whatever it is and you're absolutely gassed trying to get there. A lot of times you're next to the ruckman. You kind of look at each other and go, oh, shit. And you just jog over there. And both of you are going, yeah, I've got to go. Yeah, I've got to go. You just kind of like just jog it over and you're like, well, as long as he's with me, then no one else is going to do it. Therefore, I'm not looking an idiot, and they'll wait for you to get there.
It's like you're running to catch the bus.
Yeah, but like... I mean, we're not at top speed. Like, we're both cooked and we're both jogging. Like, and then you essentially, if you can, as a ruckman, you scream at the umpire from a distance, like as loud as you can to let them know you're coming. And most times they'll actually wait for you. So I'm probably gonna, now saying this on a podcast next week, I'll probably get 0 of those. But yeah, that's kind of how it is. But do I think it should be or should not? I mean, I am a huge fan of the no third up rule. I think that protects us as ruckmen from someone just kneeing us in the back of the head from behind or whatever. But yeah, I think it should be. They should wait for the ruckman to get there. But if someone does show up there and it takes someone else 5-10 seconds to get there, you should play on.
All right, before you talk yourself into a fine, let's move into fan questions. Now, we love your fan questions. We love every fan question. Really appreciate you sending them in. This one from Hutto10. If you could trade in any player from any other club, who would it be?
Oh man, I think everyone knows we're a big Guinea fan on this pod.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of someone who's like relatable to Guinea.
Like a Tom Papley.
Yeah, Tom's a good one. Tom is a good one. I think the one that probably comes to mind is Cody Waitman.
Oh.
He's a bit of a firecracker.
They're very similar.
And I would love for them two just to be crumbing me out the front
Some
and just
little
talking
nippers.
absolute dribble to everyone.
Oh, man. That would be like the most loved forward line in the league.
I'm loved and hated.
Imagine that. You
Oh
got
my gosh.
Big Mace, and then you got the two little tip rats out the front.
Oh,
Cody
man.
Waitman, Jack Ginnivan.
That'd be the greatest thing ever.
Oh,
Let's
I like that.
We're planting the seed here.
I like that.
Plant the seed.
Cody, if you're a big
listening.
Collingwood fan.
Yeah.
All right, this one from Mick Danaher. Have you ever thought on possibly making it to 100 senior games? Well,
I have.
You're like mid-80s now.
Somewhere in the 80s. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really, someone asked me this the other day. I said, I don't really count games or goals or anything like that. My dad knows. My dad would tell people over.
Old Filthy Phil.
The old Filthy Phil.
Shout
Love
out.
him. Shout out to the old Filthy Phil. Yeah, I've thought about it. It'd be kind of cool because what happens whenever you get 100 games? You get your name on the locker.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, which is really cool. And like, no one's going to get 46. So it's like my name will be the only name on that locker for a very long time, Brayden.
Nah, you inspire some young kid coming through.
Little piss ant.
Some gangly
It's going to ruin it for
7-footer.
me. It's going to ruin it for me.
See, our first thought is like father-son. You get father-son opportunity
yeah.
at 100 games. So a little Mason Jr.
Brayden, my son ain't playing AFL, I'll tell you that. That dude's going straight to the NBA and I'm retiring on his first contract he gets.
Well, not if you date a girl that's 4'10".
It's a fair call. I'll have to really think about this now.
See, that's what I thought. Our average height is about 6'4", 6'5". If you put my height and your height together, see, maybe I should put that on our on my dating profile. Is like my average height with the pod.
My average pot height is
I'm about
6'5".
6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, okay.
I reckon that could up my numbers.
That might help you.
Yeah. And what's this? The hardest American phrase or habit to get rid of, or it doesn't fly in Oz.
Yeah, okay. So this is the thing. Okay, so the way you say words here sometimes is for different brand names, right? We've got Adidas, we've got Asics, which is Adidas back home, and Asics. You've got aluminum or aluminium, which is just entirely too many syllables. Herbs, you drop the H and just say, you add the H in and say herbs. We drop the H and say herbs.
So it sounds like a lot of these you're wrong.
Caramel. Duty.
Caramel gets me, dude. Like
Duty, now,
Caramel's
Duty
like
and Judy, as if there's a J in there. And then whenever you say tune, and it's like, oh, this is such a tune with a CH, mate, spelling. 101.
Duty is dumb. What the hell are you
Duty
talking?
is how you spell it.
Look at it. Duty.
Yeah, duty, not duty.
No, you say duty. Like poo.
That's how it's spelled.
Duty. When you say
That's how it's spelled. The last thing,
Call it
you
duty.
replace Z's or Z's, as you like to say, with S's. So like realize you like, we spell with a Z, or Americans spell with a Z, you spell with an S. Therefore, whenever I write an email, I feel like I am terrible grammatically in Australia because all my stuff is in American like spelling, and people just look at me like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, because you're too busy hiding from tornadoes to realize that realize should be spelt with an S.
SET scores in the tornado alley, not high.
All right, but this is actually my favorite segment. I normally
We're going to end on your favorite. Okay.
I dish up some dirt on myself, but this is awkward moments.
Yes. Okay. This is a crowd favorite.
I like.
It's a crowd pleaser for sure.
So
okay.
this morning I was walking my dog, and there was a lady coming the other direction with her dog. Mine.
Great intro to a date.
He like
dog.
He's like he's a English staffy, so he's built like just
Big
muscle.
boy, muscle.
And he just lays flat to the concrete, so I can't move him. So he gets to interact with this dog.
See, and he's trying to help you out.
Yeah. Anyway, she comes up and she's like, "Oh, is he friendly?" I was like, "No, I just busted him out of prison. Yeah, he's fine." And so she's like, "Cool, they can interact." Interacted. We did like this, like past each other.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I said, "Oh, that was relatively unpainful instead of relatively painless." And she just looked at me and was like, and then walked
They
off.
just walked off. Oh, no.
And the whole way home, I just kept saying, like,
oh, gosh.
relatively unpainful.
You just repeat it in your head.
Relatively
Yes, it's the
unpainful.
worst. And you've gone, I can't take that back.
Relatively painless. What are you doing? Relatively
This is
unpainful.
why you're single, Brayden.
I walked home the whole time thinking that. Anyway, that's just what happened today.
You ever used your dog to get a date?
When he was tiny,
he would have been so
girls
cute.
coming up to me
it would've been so
non-stop.
cute.
Oh, what's your dog? Blah, blah, blah. What type is he?
And then he grew up and you're like,
I was like, oh, yeah, he's an English tabby.
I actually have an awkward moment that happened this week. It's the first time I've ever done this, Brayden. I actually dined and dashed.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Dined and dashed. I was at a cafe.
You can afford stuff.
I know. I was at a cafe with mom and dad. And
With your parents?
With my parents. My parents did it with me. Yeah, it was a whole group thing.
feels a bad
The family.
influence.
Cox family. Not great. I won't say the cafe we were at, but we were at, and we left. And I think someone went to the bathroom or something beforehand. And I assumed they paid. Because my parents have been paying for a lot of things because they want to return the favor for me, show them around, right?
So you're used to not paying. It's
No. I usually pay for everything. And they went out and then we just left and we went to another store and we like drove off. And at the other store, we sat there and we were like paying for something. And my mom goes, "Did you pay for the cafe?" And I looked at her and I go, "No, I thought Dad did." And Dad looks at her and she goes, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Wait, so hold on. You didn't pay for the cafe, you didn't pay for the cafe, and I didn't pay for the cafe. So no one paid."
His poor little struggling business.
So we, as the Cox family with great moral standards, we drove back to the cafe, we apologized, and we paid for it. And she literally goes, "Would have never even known." And that was my first dine and dash experience.
That's it.
That's it. We've covered a lot. I'm really excited to see the feedback on this dating thing. I think you're going to have a great date on Thursday, mate. She might be the one.
You reckon?
No. We'll see. Time will tell if she's the one, she's the one.
Yeah, thanks for the vote of confidence.
but-
I wonder if she listens to the pod.
We're about to find out. Please don't tell her because you won't be able to give honest feedback.
Maybe she's got a friend. We can double date.
What, you going to do a double date on the pod? No chance.
Not on the pod.
No chance.
Not on the podcast.
No chance. That is it. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Maybe you get to learn a bit more about us and our personal lives, maybe a bit too much. But just as always, to close it out, follow us Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram are the 5. And subscribe so you get all the kind of dings whenever we come up with a new one, like a catch up or a new person we're interviewing. But as always, mate, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing some of your life stories and some awkward moments. And I can't wait. I just can't wait for this catch up to see how your dating life goes.
Try win a game by more than a kick.
W's a W, brother. You don't want me to come at you at Twitter, do you?
Nah, leave me alone. I'm fragile. I'm a Pisces.
I am too. Get over it. All right, y'all. We'll catch you later. See ya.